All right, guys, happy Finance Friday. Welcome back. These are all on eBay auction right now for your bidding pleasure. Before we start the video, I just want to show you these wonderful cards available right now. These are the last cards for 2023 I will be selling, including this sorcery box. Yep, sorcery's back. We'll talk about that later on. This video is all about, well, why in the world as a seller should we even care where the money comes from if you are a buyer? Is it our responsibility to know if that money is stolen, fraudulent? Is that even a thing? I'm going to explain more in this video. All right, guys, link is below if you want to bid on these awesome items. Enjoy the video.
Vintage Magic. Game, collect, invest. For more information about our consulting and professional services, visit vintagemagic.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. It's me, Daniel, with vintagemagic.com, and happy Finance Friday. Happy holidays. I hope you guys have a great time with your family this holiday. All right, so I'm going to start a series of different videos about kind of for 2024, and I'm going to kick off today's video on something regarding a topic that came up. You guys can search it online yourself. It's about the cryptocurrency world. It's about fraud, manipulation, drama, and it has to do with Magic the Gathering also. So what happened was, in a nutshell, you can research this, was apparently there was fraudulent funds that were taken from investors in exchange for crypto. It was hacked. But then it was found that these funds were possibly, allegedly, used to purchase Magic the Gathering collectibles. That's right, allegedly. Nothing's been cleared up. Nothing's been finalized, or nothing's been, it's still going on. So you can search that yourself. The point of this video I want to make is the broker, there's a chart actually on X about this, the broker involved who was the one that actually acquired the Magic the Gathering collectibles for this individual who had money, basically is being questioned in the sense that, did the broker, know or was aware that these funds were fraudulent? Well, the answer is no. Talk to the broker already. But the other question that comes up is, does this now put a type of precedence for Magic the Gathering that's unique, that has never happened before? And what that is this. When you purchase a house, or you buy a car, or buy stocks or bonds or securities or anything like that, you have to report to the government, the IRS, in some way that you're purchasing these higher dollar value items. And that is primarily to protect, to reduce fraud effectively. If you ever go and deposit, I think, $5,000 or $10,000 at least of cash into your account, the bank will actually ask you, where did you get the funds, or what do you do for work? Not specifically where did you get the funds. They'll ask you, what do you do for work? Then what happens is the bank has to report to the IRS, and they try to match that up. And if you do that, those type of transactions, and you haven't really proven, the funds, they'll probably have a system to monitor, hey, I took this out of my account at this time, and this person has X amount of funds. If you just deposit like $500,000 cash into your account, and you say you're like, and no offense, you're like a construction worker, the IRS is probably going to flag you, because they're going to be like, wait a second, you make $60,000 a year, and you deposit $500,000? What the hell's going on? Right? Into the bank. Now, let's talk about cryptocurrency. In the case of cryptocurrency, there's really no regulation, right? If this broker received $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, whatever, of money into his account, his or her account, is the IRS going to be like, hey, where did this money come from? There is no regulation right now in this cryptocurrency world. It could be, the money could have came from, freaking hacker, it come from a drug dealer, it come from a legitimate source. You don't know. This is the problem. So this all came about because once you have fraud involved, it's being investigated. Then you also have a situation where how should the broker know? This is where the controversy is also. Should the broker know or care about the funds that come from individuals when they actually, buy cards? Or even myself. Should I care? Me, Daniel Chang, I sell millions of dollars of Magic cards all the time, every year, right? Do I care at all? Should I even be aware or have some type of measure to know who buys these cards and what they do for a living? The answer is, I don't ask anybody. If I sell on eBay, for example, or you sell on Amazon, whatever, right? Do they ever ask you, where do these funds come from to buy your cards? The people bidding on eBay, do they even know where you're getting your funds from? No. Now, you're going to be like, they used a credit card, so it's protected. Okay, people who are drug dealers have credit cards. They could be selling drugs and, buying Magic cards or baseball cards or whatever stuff, right? Furbies. I don't care. Do we even know the money? And even more funny, you go to McDonald's, right? You go to Walmart, you go to, Chick-fil-A. Are those people checking what you do for a living? Because you could be selling drugs. You could be having, fraudulent crypto funds. You could be cashing that in and then, buying McDonald's cheeseburgers. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. So this question, obviously, I want to hear your comments, by the way, below, because this is a very interesting Finance Friday topic. I kind of thought about this in many different facets, and I got to be honest with you, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for any company, let alone the government, to ever monitor microtransactions. Now, we could probably agree that microtransactions are probably under $100, but if you start doing $100 or more, that's still trillions of transactions, more than that, I don't know, a year in the universe, right? For the United States alone, right? It's crazy. So at what point do you put a regulation on cryptocurrency or buy Magic the Gathering cards? And I really feel like something's going to happen here. I feel like in the world of luxury goods, you already have sports cars. First off, you have drug dealers buying Lamborghinis, boats, jewelry, whatever, right? Real estate. They're using brokers, they're using other pseudo business names, whatever, to launder money into the universe. And then there's normal people who just can afford these items, right? Those people are obviously targeted by the IRS. They probably have like a watch force at a certain income level. They monitor what you're buying, so they make sure that there's less chance for corruption. And they obviously have other fail safes for higher deposits for banks. They check types of businesses that you're working on, right? If you're doing a lot of cash business stuff, like if you're a restaurant owner, stuff like that, they could audit you and kind of monitor what exactly are you doing with that cash, right? So that does occur. But cryptocurrency hasn't really happened. So I think for 2024, there's definitely going to be more crackdown and more potentially in not just Magic cards, but in sports cards, Pokemon, luxury goods like that. There's going to be ways to monitor cryptocurrency deeper and how you spend your money. I think it's going to happen because it's an effect of all the things like this situation that occurred. You can look it up online. I don't need it's not a rocket scientist. There's been alleged fraud going on, and this broker is in question. Like, how can this be happening? The other thing with this whole alleged thing was apparently the items purchased from this individual, from the asking the broker to buy stuff, the markup was like stated like 8 to 10%, 5 to 10%, something like that. I mean, good Lord, that is not really a markup. I'll be honest with you. I mark up stuff sometimes way higher than that. So I don't think that's a valid, like, I don't know, that's not a valid statement of potential fraud. I think like 5 to 10%, even 20% is a very normal markup. God, you go to a freaking, I mean, seriously, you go get wine at, you buy a bottle of wine at a restaurant. The wine is literally like 2x, 3x the price at a restaurant. You buy a cocktail or anything, the markup's like 3 or 4x. You gotta be kidding me. How in the world is 10 to 5% or 20, let's say 20% markup on Magic the Gathering cards like ridiculous? That's not ridiculous. I think what is, let's assume something. Let's say this money was stolen and it was fraudulent, right? And the broker, is buying the items and, did not know about it. It's not, it doesn't, if the broker is buying items for someone, they're just doing commerce. They're doing transactions. They're doing sales. Imagine someone approaches you and says, hey, look, hey, John, hey, Mary, I like to spend $1 million with you on Magic the Gathering cards. These are the type of things. These are the sealed product. These are the artworks. These are the artist proofs, whatever. These are things I like. I have a shopping list. What are you going to do? Oh, by the way, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, what do you do for a living? I got to see your W-2s. Please prove you have income. See, the thing is, in real estate, you have to prove it. It's regulated, right? It's one area where they've regulated the crap out of it. Stocks, bonds, trading, yes, highly regulated. When it comes to collectibles, cryptocurrency, stuff like this, unregulated in many ways, right? So that, the answer to all this is, for me, for my take on this, my position is that a seller like myself, or anybody, in this case, broker, how would they ever know the funds are fraudulent? Now, you could obviously say, well, somehow they were told this information. Now, that's right. If the broker was told information that these funds were stolen, or I do drugs, like, hey, I'm Pablo Escobar when he was alive. Hey, buy me these Magic cards. I sell drugs. So now you know the information and you still buy those items. Yes, you are going to be in deep shit. Let's be honest. But most people in this world don't know anything about the buyer's business or anything, right? We don't know where the funds are coming from. They could be lying, okay? And that's not our responsibility. I like to hear the argument. I was trying to think about what is the argument for someone saying it is the seller's, the broker's responsibility, the seller of the Magic items' responsibility. And I was thinking, at what case ever, other than knowing that the funds were fraudulent? I will say this. The only way this is ever going to happen is if the IRS or some law gets passed, a law by the government or something, where it literally says that if any transaction over $10,000, you must get their ID information and report it to the feds or some type of, like the bank, right? You deposit $10,000 cash. This is what they do for a living. You have to file a form to the feds or something, right? Report it to the feds. That's the only, I guess, way that I can see a seller being responsible, a broker, whatever, reporting to the government. But as of today, filming this video, it hasn't happened. So right now, I can't think of one thing. Please comment below what you think. All right, well, that's all I got for this video. It's a very interesting case. You can Google this, go online, look all about it, but I thought I'd make the video. Very unbiased opinion here. I literally was just reading all the details, thinking about, as a seller, all the millions of dollars I have sold over the years. Do I even know what these people do? I do ask, hey, what do you do for a living? I build a relationship. I ask them, hey, how do you invest? What kind of assets do you have? Get to their financials in the sense that, hey, I want to get to know them better. What will fit their portfolio? What kind of areas they want to invest in? Growth, etc. Right? But I don't like ask for proof. I don't hey, Mr. Bill. I've dealt with some billionaires. I don't be like, hey, Mr. Billionaire, please provide me documentation that you got your billions from whatever it says. What? God, unbelievable. All right, guys. Happy holidays. Next video coming up next week. Hey everyone, it's me, Daniel with VintageMagic.com. I want to share with you more about how we handle consignments. So to begin the consignment process, we actually need to start with the consultation service. In this consultation, I will determine what you're looking to do. And generally, consigners usually tell me, hey Dan, I'm looking to sell my items and maximize the value of their collection. After we determine through the consultation, I usually like to do an appraisal process. And an appraisal process in terms of a consignment is more fitted towards authenticity and valuation for current market values. From there, after a contract is crafted and signed, we will then receive the items from you. The reason why our consignment process is very thorough is we also identify cards that could be graded so then they can maximize higher dollar values. So the payment process is very simple. Once we have sold your items, you'll get an updated ledger and we will process payment for whatever form of payment you need. As a consigner, you're gonna experience our white glove service. What that means is I'm gonna personally handle your collectibles from beginning to end. And rest assured, the client that purchases your collectibles will also receive the same white glove service. It's a signature service that I really pride myself on in working closely with my clients.
Vintage Magic. Game, collect, invest. For more information about our consulting and professional services, visit vintagemagic.com.